one of the first things you said to me was you have a lot of stuff on your mind that you wanted to talk about tonight that might have nothing to do with you. Like, this is your time tonight, but I got the feeling that you want to take your time and dedicate it to others. And I'm fine with that. So I'm basically, you're not driving my car, by the way. I drive my car.
I prefer to drive the car.
But I'll let you co-pilot.
I can tell both of us are a little controlling. TJ said to me, he was like, okay, let me tell you a little story. TJ bought me a couple years ago, he bought me one of those stupid little Roomba vacuums. He's like, don't worry, it's this little thing and it'll go around the house, it'll clean the whole house. I go, TJ, I'm not trying to be rude or mean, but I don't want a vacuum like that. I want a vacuum I can hold in my hands and literally drive the car. And he goes, you want that? You want a handheld vacuum because you're controlling. And I am. And you and I are both, like, we like to drive the car.
You are an alpha control freak.
I do like a Ferrari.
You have very expensive taste.
You like a Ferrari. Well, also, I work my ass off.
Nobody's saying you don't, but you have expensive. By the way,
I'm only driving to Publix.
By the way, right before we went on, I tweeted that I got beat up by your father, I got stretched by your grandfather, and tonight I'm getting my receipt.
Yes, you're going to be punched in the nose at the end of this.
Oh, like you did to one of the girls on the final segment of NXT?
So,
there's girls in medical right now with a bloody lip because of you.
Lash Legend can kiss my ass.
And there you have it.
Yes, she deserved to get a bloody lip. She also slugged me as hard as she could in the gut. And, quite frankly, she needs to understand that I am really the best of all time, so she can take a back seat. Yes, Lash, I'm calling you out, and I'd love to feud with you.
The boat. Right there. There you go. Nattie, you've been calling everybody out lately. You've been feuding with everybody.
It's been so much fun, and I really feel like Nattie wants the best. I want the best. I want the best. I started off with Mew in Bloodsport in April. I moved my way down to NWA, which was Billy Corgan's promotion's amazing. It was a dream working for him and working there, but I moved my way to NWA, worked with Kenzie Page, and then just last week I worked at Booker T's show, worked with Promise, a girl that I believe Promise Braxton should be in WWE. Promise Braxton should be in NXT. She pushed me to my limit. So, yes, I'm going to put her over a little bit, but I also beat her, so there.
Did she push you to your limit more than the match in the NWA or the match at Bloodsport?
She just pushed me in a different way that, like, she just had this quality in her that, like, I didn't know her background. I didn't know that she came from a really hard upbringing. She said to me, she's like, I came from the streets, and so I loved, it's not that Miyu's not passionate and Kenzie's amazing, but Promise, I could tell that she's been fighting her whole entire life to survive. And so there was nothing that was going to break her. No one, including me, was going to break her. And I needed that energy. I told her, I said, I need you to fight for your life when you're in the ring with me. And that's what I love. I thrive off of that. And I've said this before, but like that taste of blood in my mouth and bruises and just the feeling of kill or be killed, I fucking love it.
So you genuinely like to get beat up?
I love it. Don't
give me a line of shit. You genuinely like the real physicality.
I love a good physical fight. I do. And when I've had matches against Charlotte, she brought that.
Nattie just picked up my pencil, by the way, and and you guys know this, nobody touches Uncle. Okay, well, I can't even say. Nobody give me my pencil, woman. Give me my pencil, woman. Okay, keep going.
So Charlotte was one of my favorite opponents ever, and she was very physical. She hit very hard. Becky Lynch is another very physical person. Liv Morgan, very, very physical. When Sasha Banks was in WWE, very, very physical.
Liv physical? As physical as Becky, Sasha, and Charlotte.
Liv is one of the toughest women I've ever worked with. And Liv,
North Jersey Hooters girl, you got to be tough.
When Liv was training with us in the dungeon, she would pour her soul onto the mat. She would wrestle like it was WrestleMania. And I'd say to Liv, pace yourself a little bit. But I love that because she was literally wrestling like it was her last day on earth to wrestle. She brought that. So when, she was the longest woman to be in the Royal, at that point, she was going into the Royal Rumble. She came to our ring, trained. She wanted to train for like hours because she knew, she was like, I'm going to try to be the Iron Woman this year of the Rumble. She poured her soul onto the mat. And I was like, I want everybody to come to our ring and wrestle like that. And, it's funny because when Sasha was in WWE, she and I just had this magical chemistry, and like I love women that inspire me. Like those women inspire me. Becky, Sasha, Liv. I'm just going down the list of women, but like,
is it hard for you? you're the OG, okay? Is it hard to watch Charlotte, Becky, Sasha be given more opportunities when you know in your heart that you don't deserve the opportunities, you've earned the opportunities?
For me, I just have never lost hope. I always feel like, and I heard an interview years and years and years ago. I think it might have been Shawn Michaels when he was like an active wrestler, but he was talking about like if you're not in the game and you take yourself out of the game, you can't play. And you know, at least if you're even on the bench, there's still a chance that you could play. And so for me, I have never, ever, ever given up hope. But that also comes with staying hungry. If I'm telling people that I want to fight the best and I want to do this and I want to do that, you better you better expect me to fucking go in the ring and bring my A game. And I did that at Bloodsport. I did that at NWA. I did that at Reality of Wrestling. When I've had opportunities, no matter where they are, or what they are, how big or small they are, I fucking kill it. And I can back it up. I can talk this talk because I've walked the walk.
Absolutely, you totally have.
Yes.
But Nattie has been doing this.
Yes. Well, Natalya has had opportunities in the past, but this is the thing about Natalya, and I've said this, and we elaborate more in my book about this. So a lot of Natalya has been about surviving. And I think that for such a long time, I was in survival mode. I was thinking, what would Vince McMahon like from me? What would this person like from me? What would that person like from me? I can't say the wrong thing. I can't step out of line. I have to be perfect. I have to make sure I help everyone and be there for everyone and just give to everyone. Every idea that I've ever pitched in my career was never about like, Vince, I'm thinking this. I really want to do this for me. It was always like, how can we get more women on WrestleMania? How can we make this more inclusive? What if we did this? Like when Tamina and I were a tag team, I wanted her more than anything in the world to win a women's championship. And I was like, I'm going to make sure that our gear looks amazing. I'm going to make sure our promos are amazing. And I fought because I loved her so much. And I knew that like Serona, people know Tamina, her real name is Serona. She's very shy and she's also very humble. But I was like, we need to fight for you. I realized in the last year that so much of my career in WWE has been magical. It's been beautiful. It's been wonderful. But I feel like Natalya was very much about surviving. And Nattie is more so like, I don't have anything left to prove to anyone except for how much I love this and how good I really am and that I've never lost it. And I'm also going to stay ready because at any given moment, I might get that opportunity. And I'm going to remind Triple H why it's important for me to get that opportunity by nailing it.
How exactly are you going to remind Triple H?
I'm going to continue to deliver. And that's what I love about doing this stuff outside of WWE, because here's the thing. And I'm sure this will probably blow up. But sometimes I look at the character Natalya and I think, and I've said this to Triple H before, I wonder how I would book Natalya. How would I book Natalya? Where does she fit in?
Well, this is really interesting because I always talk about the power of the pencil.
Yes.
There's a pencil in this studio for a reason.
Yes.
And I always say to somebody, if you had the pencil, so how would you book Natalya?
So I'm going to jump a few beats ahead. One of the reasons why I bring this up is because when I ask myself, how would I book Natalya? I go back to the work that I've been doing outside the ring. And I feel like it is not good enough to go, well, she's won she's gotten 6 Guinness World Records. She's done this. She's won women's championship. She's done all these matches. I've done so many first evers in WWE, but for me, I was doing them as Natalya. Stepping outside the company. Bloodsport was my first show in 18 years outside of WWE. I needed to do that because I didn't need something else. I didn't need a championship. I needed to fucking be someone else. I needed to be someone else. And it's funny because I got on a call with you and you said to me, why do you want to do this? You've already proven yourself, Nattie. Like, why do you want to go outside of WWE, work in smaller venues, potentially get hurt with women you don't know who they are? You don't know the surroundings or the environment. And I knew that I had to step outside my comfort zone to create something totally different. And when I look at the Nattie character, I mean, I'm going to sound really full of myself, but I think she is one of the most fascinating characters in women's wrestling today. I really do.
And what was interesting about that phone call, we actually FaceTimed. Okay, I'm a big FaceTimer because I'm so old school. I read people's faces, tone, inflection, volume, the whole nine. And I'm saying to you, why? At this stage of the game, you made your money, you had blah blah blah. You had all this. Why do you want to go do this? And you gave me an answer that I could not understand and that I could not relate to. It's because you're a Hart, and there's something different about what runs through your veins as a pro wrestler than runs through mine. I'm very passionate about what I do. I always wanted to be a pro wrestler. Since the day Snooker jumped off the top of the cage on Morocco in Madison Square Garden when I was 12 years old. Yes, this is what I want to do. But I can never fathom what it's like to be a Hart and have that kind of drive. And I think I hear that passion, I hear that drive and desire, but I could never feel it. That's why I was like, why, Nattie, why?
I just love it. And for me, it's like, it's funny because you bring up, like, I've been in WWE, I've been signed for 18 and a half years. And so that's 18 and a half uninterrupted years. I never had a long, break. I never got let go. I never went off and had a baby. I never got fired. I've been pretty steady the entire time. And the thing is that for me, I sleep in a beautiful bed. I drive a nice car. I live in a nice house. It's not enough. I don't sleep well at night. I really don't. And I bring this up because I just have so many big dreams that I still want to do. I still want to work and wrestle and compete with so many women. And I think about, like, I want to work with Stephanie. I want to work with Julia. I want to work with Jada Parker. I want to work with Lash Legend. I want to work with Fallon. I want to work with, there's a list of women that I still want to do. I've never really had a rivalry with Asuka, with Bayley. I've never worked with Lyra. Like, there's just so much more that I want to do, and I don't want to be mediocre. Like, I truly fear being mediocre, and that's why I don't sleep well at night.
But I'm not trying to crush your dreams here, but I have a lot more confidence that these bigger things will happen for you as Nattie and not Natalya.
And you're not wrong. I mean, that's the thing, is that it's one thing to tell, and this is the thing with the creative team with WWE, because I do think that that's a very, very hard position to be in. They're juggling a million different things, different variables, different factors that we don't know about, we don't see. It is so much easier for me as a person, Nattie Neidhart, that's what's on my birth certificate. It's so much easier for me as Nattie Neidhart to show them, not tell them, not send Triple H an essay of what I want to do, or send the writing team an essay of what I want to do. It's been so much easier for me to go, look at this. Look what I did at Bloodsport. Look what I did at NWA. Look what I did at Reality of Wrestling. And there's two more huge shows I'm about to announce outside of WWE. And what I love is that Triple H understands. He understands what my vision is, and he understands that I need to build that to come back into the division.
Do you think you're being allowed to do something that I don't know if anybody has been allowed to do? And emphasis on the word allow,
right.
Because if they don't want you doing this, you ain't doing it.
Triple H and Nick Khan have been extremely supportive about me. Especially, like, I was very passionate about doing Bloodsport because Bloodsport is really that dungeon style. And I remember when I first asked Josh Burnett to do it, I was like, Josh, I really want to do Bloodsport. And he's like, are you sure you know, like, what it is? And can you do it? And can you hang? And I was like, that is the dungeon. That's the style.
Do you feel like creative in WWE or management in WWE is allowing you to do this stuff on the outside? Whether it's Bloodsport, Busted Open, anything, because they may not have the plans for Natalya that you have, so this is a way of keeping you happy.
Well, I think it's a way of, it's the best of both worlds until the timing is right. And that's the thing, is that everything in life is about momentum and timing. And so I would rather us wait to really do whatever it is I'm going to do creatively right than have it feel rushed and have it be thrown away, because sometimes you only get that one chance. And I've been lucky enough, like, I have an unprecedented career, despite the fact that there are so many people out there that go, oh, Nattie, she should have done this or she should have done that. Every one of us girls in the locker room, from Rhea Ripley to Becky to Charlotte to all of us, we are such hungry, driven women that we all want more. But I'm also very grateful for everything that I've had. And I also am smart enough to know that as long as I'm still in this game, I want to grow. I want to move forward. I want to be better. And that's up to me. You know what I mean? It's one thing to go, I need all of this, I want to do all of this. It's another thing to prove it. And I think that's why Hunter has been very receptive about me taking on other projects. Like the company has been very supportive of my book, even though while writing my book over the last year, there was moments where I was so scared about what I was writing because I was like, fuck, I don't know if I should say this. I don't know if I should do this.
The black cloud of fear, as I like to call it in the wrestling business. You're gonna get heat.
Yes, yeah.
That's what it is. And it just lingers in your head. It just stays there. And that's what stops you from putting those words on paper. Yes or no?
It's yes. And that's the thing is that for me, especially growing up with, my dad worked in WWE. He was probably fired like 5 times. He had a lot of issues and we don't need to get into it. But, for me growing up in an environment where there was a lot of volatility, I was always trying my hardest to not be like my dad. So I had this goal when I finally got hired by WWE, that I was going to be the complete opposite of my dad. Whatever Vince wanted me to do, I would do it. Whatever anybody wanted me to do, I would do it. If they wanted me to lose in 3 seconds, I would do it. If they wanted me to pass gas, I would do it. If they wanted me to dance with the great Khali, I would do it. I would do it with a smile on my face, and I would never let anybody see any of the pain inside. When I realized, especially now with the company in a little bit of a different direction, I don't feel afraid anymore. Like even after Bloodsport, I was like, oh shit, maybe they're going to be like, she crossed the line, she did too much, like they're going to be mad at me. I saw Triple H the next day at WrestleMania and he was like just happy and he was like, you did awesome, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, I just felt really good. I was like, you don't have to be afraid anymore. And I think that's the fear of getting heat that is stopping so many people from doing more. And it's like if Steve Austin was afraid of getting heat, we may have never seen Steve Austin.
One of Austin's most famous T-shirts is "Fuck Fear."
Yeah.
And that's the way you need to be in this business.
And, the thing is, too, is that I'm never going to stop giving back. I'm never going to stop working to help others. But I also know that there's a time and a place sometimes where you do need to get in the front of the line. And I'm teaching people that come to my ring. I'm like, I always say, and it's funny because people will say this in interviews, Nikki Bella's been training with me. And
we had Nikki on this morning. She put you over.
Oh, I love her. I paid her to, pay her to
Absolutely.
Maxine, Nikki Bella, several women from WWE have been training with us. But I've been telling Nikki, you got to find that fuck you. And, at first she didn't understand what that meant. What that means is when the bell rings, you need to be a killer. When Asuka backstage is a sweetheart. Asuka is one of the sweetest, kindest people you'll ever meet. When the bell rings, Asuka is a killer. She is one of the scariest women I've ever been in the ring with, but she has that inner fuck you. And so when people come and train with me, it's like I don't want to see people go through the motions and have shitty punches and have poor head movement and I want it to feel as real as humanly possible so that like if I post footage, people think it's a real fight. And it comes down to, it's not about the moves as much as the story and the energy. I go back to Jacob Fatu. He has that fuck you in him. He has that energy.
That's because he's got his father Eddie in him.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Rhea.
His uncle Eddie.
Well, Rhea Ripley, she has that energy of like when you just see it in her eyes. She's got that like, I see it like where she's like, she will not be fucked with. And so that's what I love about so many of the people that I work with is like, and especially when they come to my ring, I'm like, let's not just do moves. I don't want to do moves. Especially if you want to have a very long career here and like, knock on wood, longevity. I'm all about longevity. Let's bring intensity. Let's bring great energy. We'll work on submissions and transitions and just bringing that inner fuck you so that we don't all go out there and murder each other.
Right. I'm enjoying talking about you, but I know you were adamant before we came on that you had other people that you wanted to talk about. So you have the choice right now. Well, you can transition into these other things you wanted to talk about, or we could stay with you.
So you're so sweet because I do, all of us girls love to talk about ourselves.
You're doing a hell of a job of it, sister.
But we were talking earlier about like some hot topics that were going on, and I loved the Randy Orton interview with Stephanie. Mm-hmm. I watched it several times, and I really am enjoying Stephanie's podcast because I see a different side of her where she's kind of letting loose and she's kind of like, she's finding her inner fuck you, where she's like, I'm just going to be me. I don't have to be like, not that she was putting on a front before, but I just see a more relaxed version of her that people feel for whatever it is, about whatever reason with Stephanie, people want to open up to her. And so with me, like backstage, I always find myself opening up to her, like behind the scenes. She's a great listener. And so when I saw Randy on our show, I was just captivated by the interview because when you look at Randy Orton, he's just so physically imposing. He's just like, he looks like a Greek god. Like he's just chiseled, and he's this big guy. And of course, he's a massive superstar, one of the greatest, the greatest to ever do it. And then you hear him talking about depression, and you hear him talking about anxiety. And he's saying, like, I'm waking up in the middle of the night and I can't sleep. He's like, I'm just feeling anxious, and I'm feeling like, can I even do this job anymore? It just like hit me like a ton of bricks, because we need to have those conversations. More people need to be having those conversations about mental health, because if somebody like Randy Orton can open up about that and show like, hey, it's okay to feel that way. He found somebody, he talked through it, he worked through it, he got a good therapist, and he's got a strong support system. But like, if he's going through it, it makes people feel good talking about it, because I have never met anyone ever, especially in this industry, that hasn't gone through something like that. So many people go through that, whether they're on top and they're like, I've heard stories about Eddie Guerrero in the industry where Eddie was like the champion and he still didn't feel like he was good enough. He was so hard on himself if the gate wasn't good, or he would beat himself up because he's like, I'm the champion and we should have had a sold out house. And, you hear these, like, even when my dad was in the industry, there was times where my dad would come home and he'd just be really down. And it's because there's these high highs and these low lows, and not everybody knows how to regulate them. But when we talk about them, we open up that conversation. I just think they're just important conversations to have. And like, whether you're a guy or a girl, but especially guys, because I feel like guys aren't talking about it. And there's a lot of people that at work, it's like, 1 minute you're on top. We look at Big E, for example. 1 minute Big E is the world champion of WWE, and the next minute his career is gone. He has a career-ending injury, and he's trying to figure out who the fuck he is. And then you hear him talk about it. I read Big E's Players Tribune article. He talked about suicide and how he went through that. And I sent him a text, and I said, your Players Tribune article that you wrote, it just moved me. Because he's talking about, I never knew. When you look at Big E, you'd never think he was somebody that wanted to commit suicide. He talks about it. He says, I went through this. Playing sports and just being this big guy, this big, strong guy, people look at me and think that I'm not vulnerable. And then you hear somebody like Randy or Big E talk about it, and it's so relatable, and I think it could help others.
Speaking of vulnerable, how about Charlotte?
So I read her Players Tribune article this morning on the plane. And again, it's funny because people that don't know her story about her brother and what made her want to get into wrestling. I knew Charlotte from the very beginning. We had an instant connection because of the work we did at NXT, but also because she was coming from greatness. When your dad is, one of the greatest to ever do it, you feel like you just have these massive shoes to fill. But when you learn more about her story, about what happened to her brother and how it was her brother's dream to wrestle, it was never her dream. So she was always trying to fulfill his legacy, but then she ended up falling in love with it herself. I loved her article because it was very vulnerable. And I think that she was very vulnerable in the interview, in her, what she wrote. And I love that side of her. I want to see more of that because that moved me. That whole interview was just again, people see us and we look larger than life, and then you see somebody open up and say, when the crowd was booing, or when, I felt like they were booing me as a human. And it's hard because it's hard. It's a lot of noise,
It's so true what you say, because even when I look at you, right, Natalia is entirely too sugary, sweet, and nice, and all of this stuff for me. This version of you, I really enjoy. First of all, you're a woman. You're not a little girl anymore, and it's almost like you came into you fully came into womanhood as a professional when you found your inner FU, and you turned Nattie on. And this is the version of you that I'm most interested in. I listen to tone, I listen to inflection, I read movement, I read facial expressions. This is you.
Thank you.
This is you. This is what you need to continue to channel. So you feel that vulnerability, from Charlotte, and it's not vulnerable. I think this is not heroic, but I'm glad that you have the guts to go out there and show this side of you and be unapologetic about it. I think this is the side of you that people want to see.
And it's funny because I didn't realize how tightly woven childhood trauma can affect you in your adult life.
Listen, every girl's problem goes back to daddy, and every boy's problem goes back to mommy.
Yeah, well, I mean, mine was like totally related to the stuff that my dad went through growing up, because he was so. It was just high highs, low lows. But the thing is that as I started writing my book, like I said, when I first started writing it, and Becky Lynch gave me some of the best advice. She said, just start writing. Don't worry about, just get it all out. Just put it on paper. Just get it out. Just get it out of your system. Just start. Just, even if you don't know how, because I was saying to her I was struggling organizing my thoughts. And she's like, just get started. And so as I was starting to write it, I got scared, because I was like, oh my gosh, I think people are going to like, this person's going to be mad at me, and this person's going to be mad at me, and this is too much, and I'm saying too much, and I'm doing too much. And then I realized, once I let WWE read the book, because I wanted them to read it. I wanted them to take a look at it. They loved it. They supported it. They said they were so supportive.
It was real.
They had it was such a liberating experience, because I felt like in the past, had I brought up some of the very serious things that I brought up in my book that I was terrified of writing about, I felt like I wouldn't be allowed to do that before. And now it's like, no, just be you. Just be you. Say what you want to say, and also start working on being more, unapologetic. Because there's going to be people all over this world that like you. There's going to be people all over this world that hate you. I fucking hate half the people in this world. And I love half the people.
See, I can't relate to that, because everybody loves me.
Well, the thing is, you got to get to know you. You got to get to know you.
Everybody.
You got to get to know you.
Here's the thing: everybody has to have their Bubba moment. The Bubba moment is when you're actually with me and you talk to me and you go, "Wait a minute, everything I heard is not true. He's actually nice." A little bit of an asshole, but he's
our
nice.
asshole. Yes,
exactly.
And that's the thing, is that you're a little bit of a heel. And what's funny is
I'm a lot of bit of a heel. Don't ever say it took me 30 years to create this thing, honey. I'm a lot of bit.
It's funny,
and I'm the best heel on the planet still. There is not one person on this planet who can drive disdain home like I can, because I will look through you and make you fear me. Continue.
That was great. That was a great promo. No, you believe in what you say, you stand by it, and like whether people like it or whether they hate it, it's like, it's what you feel. Mm-hmm. And that's why I brought up Paul Heyman, because he's very similar. And like even Brett, people say what you want about him, but like he feels a certain way. He feels a certain way. TJ actually sent Brett a text, because just the other day it was the anniversary. It was 28 years since the very first ever Canadian Stampede, that In Your House pay-per-view. And TJ said, I remember when it went down, Brett was so like, there was some stuff that was happening behind the scenes, and Brett was like, he didn't love the match. And TJ goes, how could Brett not like this match? It was so good. It was like Brett and Austin in the beginning, it was just such cinema. Like they were just Brett was just such an artist, and Austin was just like unmatched with his energy and his intensity. So TJ sent Brett a text. He's like, do you still feel the same way about that match? I'm like, TJ, it's 2 a.m. You're texting Brett at 2 a.m. And TJ goes, I want to know if Brett still feels the same way, that he didn't like that match, because this is one of my favorite matches. That's what TJ said. So TJ sends Brett that text, and Brett's like, no, I stand by my feelings. He had a whole bunch of reasons why that wasn't a match that he loved. But again, it's like he just is he is who he is, and he's not going to feel bad about it.
1%ers in this business. If you're a 1%er in a biker gang, that means you did some really bad things. 1%ers in this business are people who speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and don't care about what people say. Most people in this business are phonies. They will tell you what they feel you need to hear and say whatever it takes. When it comes to politicking, they will stab you in the back, okay? I'm one of the best politicers in the business, but you know what I do? I stab you in the heart, so you know it's me who stabbed you. I hate people who do that thing. Okay, continue with, okay, so Charlotte, you applaud Charlotte for being honest and vulnerable.
Yeah, I love that.
Randy for being honest and vulnerable, all right? We've talked about you. Tell me about Evolution.
So Evolution is coming up. We're days away from it. And of course, I'm coming off of doing NXT tonight. So it was really cool to see some of the NXT girls getting excited about it because, you know, it's their first time in an evolution. I did the first women's evolution, in 2018. It feels like a lifetime ago. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited because, again, like even just tonight being out there with like, I was backstage and when Izzy found out that she was going to, you know, be in evolution, she was just so excited. She was like, this is so, like, you just feel that childlike wonder. And I love that. Maxine, like I go back to her and it's like, she's somebody that I just didn't realize I needed. Like, and it's crazy to think that, but like, she's so stupid positive that it drives me crazy. But I love it.
But you used to be stupid positive.
I know, but I got jaded and bitter.
Good.
No, but Maxine, her real name is Sydney. I said to TJ, I go, she's so positive, it's killing me. She will literally, we will go to TV and they'll be like, listen, something got cut. Sorry, girls, this isn't happening. And she will find a way to make it great. And I love that. Like she's actually the person that came up with the name, the Dungeon Dolls. And so she was like, I went to merch and we got t-shirts designed and she's just so, you know, she's got that childlike wonder. And even today when we were getting ready for the show, she's like, it's funny because we just have these like very honest conversations and she's like, I just love this. She goes, I want to do this. I want to do this as long as I can do this in WWE. She's like, I'm so grateful for this because sometimes backstage, you know, the locker rooms, you can, you know, sometimes we bitch in the locker room. We vent to each other because that's kind of what you do.
That's all wrestlers do is bitch, moan, and complain.
Yeah, and it's just what my dad used to always say. It's kind of how we bond to go, you know, we just want to bitch and then get it out of our systems and it's a safe zone in there. Tonight, Maxine was like, I just love this so much. I just want to, like, I want to do the best that I can do in this. And I just, like, she was so excited about coming tonight to NXT. And I was like, NXT, this vibe, this energy, you see, like, backstage, we see Booker, we see you, we see Sean, we see Fit Finley. And I'm like, these guys are all so engaged and captivated with with helping everyone. Taker, Michelle. Michelle, actually, I saw her tonight. And it's funny because I like her on LFG. I like the tension between her and Booker. It's interesting. I said to you in the very first season of LFG, why I was enjoying the show so much is because of, like, you were just pushing buttons. You need to do that. The best, refresh me on her name, her ring name. You called her out on a promo that she's the...
Serena?
The Olympian.
Tyra May Steele.
Yes, so is that her wrestling?
Tyra May Steele.
So she's going, because sometimes, you know, we get different names, but so I loved when you called her out and said, listen, you need to do it like this, and she got really upset. When you called her out, she ended up doing her best work. Mm-hmm. That's how I mean, again, everybody's way of pushing people can be a little different, but on the show, I found it to be very entertaining. I was like, she got pissed off, and sometimes... For me, I usually always do my best work when I'm pissed off. If I'm too happy, something's not right.
I pushed your buttons and you became pissed off.
Yeah.
It works. And I learned it from the guy who's probably one of the best to do it, and that's Paul Heyman.
Right.
I just want to go back to something that you said about Maxine and how happy and positive she is and how upbeat she is. And it immediately reminded me of you and how you were back in the day. But I believe in her cheerfulness and her upbeat. I think that's your story right there. I hope you blast her in the back of the head. And when she wants to know why, you did it for her own good because you didn't want to see what happened to you happened to her.
We need to get you a pencil. Oh, wait.
I already have a pencil.
That I've chewed on.
Everybody, she did.
I did put that in my mouth.
She did, and it looked pretty good, guys.
It was a really tasty pencil. No, but I mean, I'm all about the story.
I think you two are perfect for one another. She's a deer in the headlights. She's so like, yay, everything is great. Oh. And you're just sitting back right now going, ugh, you disgust me.
She's so happy it's disgusting. But I do love her, and I love her. She's like a little deer. She reminds me of Bambi.
Yeah, she's a fawn.
She's a fawn. She's a baby fawn.
Yeah, she's just frolicking in the big bad wrestling business going, oh, this is great. I love it all. And you are just huffing and puffing, waiting to blow her house down.
This is Storytelling 101. And by the way, if she brings me one more scandalous little outfit, you have no idea the costumes and the outfits and the little things that she brings me to wear. I'm like, Maxine, Sydney, this is not going to fit me. This is going to fit you. My dad is Jim the Anvil Neidhart. I'm built like a water buffalo. Why the hell are you bringing me a It's hilarious. I literally will walk around at Raw. I'm like, these outfits are too small.
Like a water buffalo.